You see some ominous looking clouds off in the distance, but it is dry, and we're set for the Pirates and the Cubs. Let's get the Taco Bell starting lineups. They're brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Maz. Polanco off to a great start to his career. Josh Harrison gets to start at third base. We mentioned McCutchen in the open. The veteran catcher Russell Martin will clean up. Jose Tabata in for Starling Marte. Gabby Sanchez gets the start at first. It's Jordy Mercer and Clint Barmas making up the double play tandem. Right-handed pitcher Vance Worley will bat ninth. And there's left-hander Travis Wood, 5'11", 175, but a terrific athlete, as CJ mentioned in the open. 27 years old. Last year got to 200 innings as he makes start number 15 here in 2014.
And as we take a look at Wood, we're talking about fastball heavy, not just that straight fastball, but the cutter as well. You're going to see about 80% of those is what he throws in any particular game. And arm side strong, that's left side, away to right-handed hitters, into lefties. He's gotten much better on that side of the plate this year. And we talked about how good of a two-way player he is. 8 home runs in his career. That is second among all active pitchers to Yovani Gallardo, who's got 12.
Now the Cubs defensively, a lot of moving parts in the outfield. It's going to be Chris Coghlan left to right, Junior Lake and Justin Ruggiano. On the infield, third to first, Luis Valbuena, Starlin Castro. Darwin Barney won a Gold Glove 2 years ago. It's Anthony Rizzo at first, the veteran Eli Whiteside back to the plate, and again Travis Wood, who fields his position well on the mound. Time now for the keys to the game, brought to you by the Lincoln Motor Company.
And for me, the Pirates take advantage of the split advantage. Right-handed hitters hitting .285 off of Wood. 8 righties in that lineup tonight, and the Cubs have to score early. We'll talk about Jason Grilli losing his job as the closer, but the back end of that bullpen for the Pirates is still very, very good.
It's Ricky Renteria, first-year Cubs manager and a former Pirate. So we're going to start just about 2 hours exactly late. And a cutter for a strike. Travis Wood to Gregory Polanco, who actually made his big league debut 11 days ago against Travis Wood. 2 hours and 1 minute, the official rain delay. One ball, one strike. 2 hours, 1 minute. And hopefully that's it for the delays. There it is. 1-2, the Game Changer profile, brought to you by T-Mobile, official sponsor of Game Changers. Can't argue with that. He's setting the bar pretty high, isn't he?
He's gotten off to a great start, and this will be interesting to see. You talk about already seeing Travis Wood. Travis Wood now knows Polanco a little bit better. Who's going to make the adjustment? How will Polanco react? How pitchers will pitch him second, third time around.
Polanco 6'4", 222, but we talked with his manager today, Clint Hurdle. He thinks there's some more muscle there to be added as he gets older. 3-2, it's full.
And convinced that he may have grown an inch since spring training, since he last saw him. They're saying now they believe he might be about 6'5", but we talked about maybe getting up to 240. That additional 18 pounds and not being a bad kind of 240, but the good kind. You may see some power come along with that.
Wood into his motion, and the payoff pitch swung on and missed. Strike 3.
And this is a good-looking cutter, trying to go down and away, but leaves it over the middle. You can get away with that when that ball is going away from a left-handed hitter. We know Travis Wood is good against lefties. His real test is going to come against the next 8 hitters, which are all right-handed.
And that's starting with a former Cubs draft pick, Josh Harrison from Cincinnati. Went to the University of Cincinnati. 6th rounder in 08, traded to the Pirates in 09, and Pirates have an interesting decision to make here soon. Neil Walker had an appendectomy, but probably is coming off the DL as early as Tuesday. Harrison can play a lot of different spots, but that's the challenge for Clint Hurdle, is to find room for Harrison. He's been one of their best players all year. And he fouls one off his foot. He's got some protection on that front foot. Let's see where it got him.
There's another cutter in here. We're going to see a lot of these, and that doesn't feel good. And that's a huge advantage for Wood when you do that to a guy early on, because what you're going to do is you're going to continue to go in there. You want hitters to be weary of that. Ooh, right on the top of the toe. That does not feel good.
You might need a guard on both legs. Bounced foul. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, and that's cruel to go back in there again like that, but that's what you have to do as a pitcher when you find a weakness and you know a guy may be just a little tentative after fouling a ball off his foot. You continue to go right back in there.
In the air, center field. This is Junior Lake to make the catch. Well, keep an eye on the flags. The wind has changed directions about maybe 8 or 9 times over the last 4 hours, and that's what you get when you come to Chicago. Not doing a whole lot right now, maybe slightly blowing out. 1 mile per hour is the wind speed. Here's McCutchen, last week's National League Player of the Week. A lot of that damage, as we talked about off the top, came against the Cubs in Pittsburgh. Pirates are 3 games under 500. They've got a long stretch of games against last place clubs. But the Cubs have the best record in the National League over the last 31 games, 18-13. 1-1, a little high. CJ, as a pitcher, when guys took pitches, did that say something to you? Because McCutchen, I love watching him just take a pitch. He has a game plan, doesn't he?
He does, and sometimes guys will set you up with the way that they take those pitches. He almost looked stunned that that ball was in. Andrew McCutchen was actually leaning out over the plate a little bit and jumped back. And sometimes you do that because you want the guy to go back in there. You try to set him up. Really smart hitters will do that to you.
Always a dangerous count for a pitcher against McCutchen. 3-1, and it was up, but he got away with it.
Just what Andrew McCutchen was looking for, a fastball up over the plate right in the middle, and just a tiny bit late as he gets under it and fouls that ball back.
The 3-2 from Wood, but right to Castro on the ground, and it's a 1-2-3 first inning for Travis Wood. The Cubs coming up against Vance Worley. Taco Bell. Sometimes you got to live Moss. Emilio Bonifacio on the DL, so a little mixing and matching at the top. Tonight it's Chris Coghlan. Justin Ruggiano is in right, batting second. Then you go Rizzo, Castro, Valbuena, who has led off here a bit lately. Junior Lake in center. Darwin Barney plays second base, and the battery goes 8 and 9. Eli Whiteside and Travis Wood hitting .276. And they will face big right-hander Vance Worley, 6'2", 230. This is his second start with the Pirates, and CJ, he was really good his first time out.
An opportunity really knocking here for Vance Worley, taking advantage of it with Francisco Liriano down and no free passes. His walk rate at AAA was under 1 per 9 innings. Unbelievable for him. He's got to try to contain Starlin Castro, who has been on fire over his last 6 games, batting .478. 478 on base percentage.
So 1 strike on Chris Coghlan, left-handed batter. Sinking fastball missed, and it's 1-1. So Worley is back in the National League after a brief stop with the Twins. Came up originally with the Philadelphia Phillies. Deep breath in the pitch, and that ball is floated foul. Nice crowd on hand tonight, and again they had to wait through a couple of thunderstorms, some lightning in the area. The grounds crew took the tarp off the field about 3 different times, and there was a lot of cheering and then some booing when the tarp went back on the infield.
I'm impressed with how many fans have hung in here and refused to be denied watching a baseball game tonight. 2 hours is a long wait.
Cubs have used 5 different leadoff hitters so far in 2014. Bonifacio's been their main guy, but he's not available on the disabled list with a strained oblique. A wind and another 1-2 and a pop-up. That is left center. It'll be taken by Tabata. And now the Pirates defensively. Starling Marte will not be here the rest of the weekend due to a personal matter back in the Dominican Republic. So it's Tabata tonight in left. McCutchen, Gold Glover in center field. Polanco has a really good arm out there in right. Harrison, Mercer, Barmes, and Sanchez around the infield. Russell Martin, terrific defensively. And Vance Worley, again, making his second start in place of Francisco Liriano. Here's Justin Ruggiano, home run cut, came up empty.
We don't get to see Marte, but when he is out there, this outfield has now become one of the best in baseball. Polanco hasn't been here very long, but defensively they are very good. They're doing a lot of great things offensively. It's an exciting time to be a Pittsburgh Pirates fan.
Yeah, the storyline has kind of been turned on its head here in 2014. Last year, they had kind of a middling offense, aside from McCutchen, obviously, but it was their pitching. And this year, especially lately, they're scoring runs, but they've had some bullpen issues. That one just off the corner. Garrett Cole, who we'll talk to a little later. Liriano, you mentioned, on the DL, so that's 40% of their opening day rotation. Ruggiano stays alive.
And not only did Liriano get hurt, but he had really struggled to repeat the success that he had a year ago. A comeback player of the year, had a fantastic season. Really surprised a lot of people in Major League Baseball, but he's been unable to repeat that this year. That's been a big part of why the Pirates are not winning.
Sharply hit grounder right to Mercer, the shortstop. And 2 down, and it'll bring up Anthony Rizzo, putting together a fine season. Among National League first basemen, only Paul Goldschmidt has a higher on-base plus slugging. There you see a very healthy 900 OPS.
Well, it's been really fun to watch this guy grow. I remember when they first gave him that contract extension, I thought maybe was it a little bit premature, and he certainly has proved me wrong. He's adjusting nicely. It seems like every year continually getting better.
Strike called at the knees. Certainly will get all-star consideration, but that's a very difficult spot to get on the National League roster. 0-2. Worley working quickly. And the pitch called strike 3. Got the inside corner, according to John Tumpane, the home plate umpire. So the starters dominating here in the first inning after the rain delay. Sponsored by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Iconic Wrigley Field as they're celebrating its 100th birthday, and that young man was hoping for a little more sunshine and an earlier start. He's got the eye black on and everything.
I give him about 2 more innings before he's sleeping. He makes it look like it's the 9th inning right now. I mean, he looks exhausted, but it looks like he had some fun at least during that rain delay.
Time for some caffeine and cotton candy. Here's Russell Martin playing cleanup man tonight for the Pirates, and he takes ball 1 from Wood. He's made at least 133 starts behind the plate 3 different times in his career. He loves to play every day. 1-1.
A nice cutter right there by Travis Wood, and really his ability to paint that inside like that. If he can stay there consistently, he could have another solid game like he did that last one, those 8 shutout innings he threw against the Philadelphia Phillies.
From Arkansas. Real good friends with Cliff Lee. And like Lee, he works quickly. That's a strike. 2-2.
And Russell Martin has some very odd splits, hitting just 111 against left-handed pitching and 303 against right-handers. You don't see that very often, especially middle of the order, strong right-handed hitters.
He's always had a really good eye at the plate. This is already the 3rd full count for Travis Wood. So they're going to try to nail that outside, and that went right where Whiteside wanted it.
You see him going for the backdoor cutter. It actually finishes middle, but it finishes down with just enough late movement to get it by Martin.
Couple of Chicago natives on the crew tonight. Tom Payne, the home plate umpire. James Hoy over at first. Bill Welke at second. The crew chief, Bob Davidson, is from Chicago as well. Tabata looks at a strike.
Well, we never think much about umpires, and they are pretty much, they're on the road the entire season, so it is always nice when you come home to your city. Not very often. Pretty much every game a road game for them.
Right field, and Ruggiano will make the catch. We're still without a base runner so far. And it'll be Gabby Sanchez. CJ, you were mentioning lefty-righty splits. Sanchez has killed lefties this year, but he's only 1 out of 17 in his career against Travis Wood.
And you just have to figure that he's uncomfortable against that cutter, because Travis Wood is not your typical lefty. He doesn't throw you that big breaking ball that he sweeps. He doesn't have the changeup for the righties. A lot of fastballs, a lot of cutters. His ability to run that ball in. It's a different look for right-handed hitters than they're used to seeing from your typical lefty in the major leagues.
That snaps a string of 5 consecutive first pitch strikes to start the game for Travis Wood. The 1-0 is in there, 1-1. Wood working with Eli Whiteside. Wellington Castillo, their main #1 catcher, is on the DL. He's got a rib cage injury, and Whiteside's been working with Wood here the last several starts. Just missed.
And a lot of managers, they would prefer to stay away from personal catchers when they can, because sometimes that ties their hand. But when you find a guy that works well with your pitcher, it's hard to keep him out of the lineup.
Lazy fly ball center field, and it's Lake for the final out. 6 up, 6 down for Travis Wood. Scoreless early from Chicago. Here at Wrigley Field, it was originally called Weedman Park. Actually, the Chicago Federal League team played here in 14 and 15, and the Cubs moved in 1916. The Ivy, the scoreboard installed in 1937 by Bill Beck. Lights were installed in 1988. In the first game under the lights was rained out. 3 All-Star games, the last of which came in 1990, and only Fenway Park is older. And in case you're wondering, the second oldest park in the National League is Dodger Stadium, which opened in 1962.
This is one of the funnest ballparks to come to as a visitor. My favorite place to shag by far as a pitcher. Go out and hang out in the outfield and go back and forth with the folks in the bleachers. Always a good time.
Underway in the home half of the second. No base runners to this point. A strike on STARLIN. CASTRO hit a big 3-run homer, and the Cubs win over the Pirates yesterday. It was his 11th of the year, already surpassing last year's total, and that ball is lined foul through the bullpen.
Well, it certainly does appear that STARLIN CASTRO is really coming into his own now after that year last year, not his greatest, and bouncing back very nicely. One thing that I found odd digging in a little bit, those 11 home runs, all against right-handed pitching. It's like backwards day here at Wrigley. We talk about the guys with the backward splits. You would think at least a couple would be versus left-handed pitching.
This was a 3-run homer on Charlie Morton. It was on an 0-2 pitch. The Chicago Cubs have 2 home runs on 0-2 deliveries, both by Castro, both off the sinker baller Morton this year. Called strike 3, his second punch out, both of the looking variety.
And that's a very nice pitch there by Vance Worley. As you see Russell Martin, this glove does not move. He wants that fastball down and away on the corner. Yeah, it came back just a little bit, but still a very good pitch. As we see some late movement, and Castro arguing, but I think he knows if he goes back and watches this, that fastball caught a lot of the plate.
Left-handed hitting Luis Valbuena having a terrific year. Worley's first pitch is bunted foul. The Pirates, one of the more aggressive defensive shifting teams in baseball. And so they usually give you a different look depending on which batter's coming up and what his spray charts tell you.
Well, I love what Valbuena does right there is to go ahead and bunt it even though he doesn't get it down. He puts it in the defense's mind that he's at least considering doing that when you put that shift on.
1-1 on Valbuena. Junior Lake on deck. Deep breath by Worley. Big leg kick and got in on him. And Valbuena, a pop fly. Barnes wanted it, but Polanco, the right fielder, takes it. Tonight's game on Fox is sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company. This is where a new conversation begins. Fans across the street, some on the rooftop, some maybe a level below. And many of them are packed tonight. Pitch to Junior Lake. Elevated to center. Should be easy for McCutchen. It is. 6 up, 6 down for Worley. We'll be right back after a word from your local sponsors. Wrigley Field, Pirates and Cubs just about to get underway in the third inning, and we have a guy who will get some all-star consideration with the Cubs, Jason Hamill, right-hander who will pitch tomorrow. And Jason, we're glad we got to you fairly early. Do you have a time cutoff where you're going to head home tonight, or are you going to stick it out?
I'm going to stick it out as long as I can. You know, the last 2 hours were pretty boring. Just sit there, got to watch a little bit of baseball before I head home.
It's nice to spend a little bit of time with your teammates, but what if this game got deep? A lot of guys would take off, say, you know, we have another rain delay and it got closer to midnight. I mean, obviously, there's got to be some cutoff point for you in there.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to put a time limit on it.
Don't tell anybody when you're leaving the stadium.
Yeah, and hopefully no more delays. That would be terrible. Yes. And here come the seeds.
Yeah, we figured you're going to get some action there in the dugout.
Oh, yeah.
Your teammates are jealous, though, that we're talking to you and not them. There's a 1-1 to Mercer, is bounced foul right near you. Okay, so neither guy's given up anything. At what point does everybody stop talking to the starting pitcher?
I don't know. I'm a guy that you can talk to me all game long if you want. I tend to just leave the guy alone, but that's my own protocol. Most of the guys will go in and out.
That ball is crushed by Jordy Mercer, and he has homered in back-to-back games in this series. And the Pirates lead 1-0.
They're swinging a hot bat right now.
He had a 3-run homer yesterday, and that was a no-doubter.
We just talked about when would you speak to a pitcher, so we know who to blame that one, and that's going to go on you, Len. But here's a cutter that ends up sitting over the middle of the plate. And Mercer does a nice job of going out and hooking that ball a little bit, squares it up very well. He knew it right away when he got it, too.
Yeah, that's all your fault. That's not my fault.
Well, if we had that much power in the booth, Jason, I guess we could give the lottery numbers tonight, too. As Clint Barmas swings and misses. So you have to watch a game tonight a little differently, knowing you're going to pitch tomorrow, right? Knowing that you're going to face the same team.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a little different lineup, though. Obviously, Woody being a lefty, so I'm gonna see a lot more of their left-handed hitters. Actually, I think we'll be going without Marte. He's not here today. I don't know what happened, but that's a tough bat. It's a tough out that we'll be missing the lineup tomorrow. So I'm looking for certain things, but I'll watch some video more or less on their lefties.
Another one hit pretty well. This one will be caught by Chris Coghlan on the warning track. Jason, you're back in the National League. First time since you were a Rocky in 2011. The numbers say that this has been a good transition for you.
Yeah. I think the fact that I'm in the NL Central, a lot of right-handed heavy lineups allow me to pitch to my strengths with this fastball slider. Obviously, the two-seamer working away with lefties was something that helped turn my career around, but more or less just staying down the zone and trying to throw quality strikes is what's got me back in the game.
Well, there's been a significant increase, or I should say decrease, in your walk rate. It's been a lot better right now. Under 2 per 9 innings. Is there anything different that you've been doing, whether it be mentally or physically, that's attributed to that?
Honestly, no. Just trying to stay aggressive. I've learned now that I've been around long enough that walks get you in trouble. And in my games that I've had walks this year, they've come around to score. So if you just put them in play, use your fielders, just basic pitching 101. Throw strikes, use your fielders, and you get the occasional strikeout.
There's the 0-2 and called strike 3. All right, Jason, the one question we're obligated to ask you here, and we will let you go here soon. My sense of it is, for most players, the whole will you get traded thing is usually media created, that guys don't talk about it much until they're asked. Has that really been the case for you and Jeff Samardzija so far this year, that you don't really think about it until people like us end up asking you?
Yeah, basically. It's tough. If we're sitting there and we're not thinking about pitching, trying to get outs, we're worried about the wrong thing. You know, that's one of those things where you cross that bridge when you get to it. If it happens, it happens. I have no no trade clause, so I have no say in the matter. But I can say that I've really enjoyed my time here, and I want it to continue.
Only about, you have to answer that question maybe another 6 weeks. I remember asking, I actually asked you that question not too long ago, I guess about 3 or 4 weeks ago on radio, and I remember you saying basically the same answer, and saying all the right things, but I understand how frustrating it can be. I want to go back to your preparation a little bit. I mean, I've been out of the league for, I guess, about 9 years now. I always remember starting pitchers doing charts the day before. Are those days over?
Those days, some teams do it. Some teams do it. I remember doing it with the Rockies. Here the Cubs, now Boss does it for us. But my preparation is more in the video, and I basically compare like arms against the teams that I'm facing. I'll see who the teams have faced recently, and then compare my stuff to that person, and I'll watch that video. So it's really, obviously I'm paying attention during the game, seeing what guys are putting in play and what they're swinging at, what they're not. But you know, a lot of it's video work.
Just missed. Jason, thanks for the time. Last question. John Baker, right? Is he the one throwing stuff at you?
I think it was a little bit of everybody.
Okay. But Baker is the logical choice. Yeah, look at them all. They all look guilty.
Yeah, they're all looking away. We're incognito.
Jason, thanks for talking with us. We appreciate it very much.
Thanks a lot for having me, guys.
Thanks, Jason.
It's 1-0 Pirates in the third. Magazine and Target are recognizing teachers in your community. Vote for the teacher who will represent your team at the 2014 All-Star Game, July 15th on Fox. Log on to allstarteachers.com and vote today. 1-0 Pittsburgh on a leadoff homer by Jordy Mercer in the top of this third inning. Thanks to Cubs right-hander Jason Hamill for chatting with us. Darwin Barney getting the start at second base. Not an everyday guy this year. Over 120 starts each of the last 3 years, but he's on pace to start about half the Cubs games this season. 1 strike on him. Worley coming back, and that is fouled out of play. Great defender, CJ, just got to hit a little more.
It's tough. You can hide guys like that in your lineup when the rest of the lineup is going really well. If you have a plus glove, you're willing to sacrifice offense, and sometimes you can do it in the 8-hole. But when you have multiple guys that aren't hitting, it makes it very difficult. Or if you just have someone that's coming and outplaying you.
Vance Worley went to spring training with the Twins and found out late in spring training he was not only going to be sent to the minors, but they were going to put him in relief. And that lasted for basically one appearance before the Pirates grabbed him and put him in a starting role at AAA. And that will get out of play. And talking to Worley yesterday, it sounds like he's pretty happy to be back in the National League. He said, you know, the Pirates have seen me before, and you can see what he did to start his career with the Philadelphia Phillies. A lot of strikes here early on from Worley.
And you never know where the opportunities are going to come. You look at the Minnesota Twins, and their rotation looked to be set. They made some moves in the offseason, added some pitching, guys like Phil Hughes and Alasko, and so there really wasn't going to be an opportunity most likely to be a starter. He goes to the Pirates, and their rotation looks like it's somewhat set, so much so that Jeff Locke, an all-star from last year, was in the minor leagues, but you just never know how things are going to unfold.
In the air to left. Tabata frozen initially, but then drifting back, and he makes the grab. Tuesday, July 15th, baseball's best gather in Minnesota as the captain Derek Jeter takes the field in his final All-Star game ever in what promises to be an emotional and unforgettable night. Special coverage begins at 4:30 on Fox Sports 1, followed by the 2014 All-Star game at 7:30 on Fox. Eli Whiteside, 34 years old, former Oriole and Giant. That one hit hard foul behind Gary Jones, their third base coach. Well, let's check out the updated All-Star balloting. As we see in the National League, Stanton, McCutchen, and Puig. Look at Troy Tulowitzki, almost 2.6 million votes at shortstop.
He's having a monster season, MVP type for him. The Colorado Rockies fans always do a pretty good job of getting to the polls and trying to get their guys in there. Third base is an interesting one for me. David Wright, the power is down, but he is the biggest name. But Todd Frazier in Cincinnati is having a monster year and really emerging. And I wonder if fans will recognize that, and he might be able to give David Wright a run starting not in the All-Star game.
McCutchen actually might get some votes from some youngsters here in Chicago before the game today. He took a group from a local high school and another from the Lost Boys Baseball Foundation for a shopping trip. Talked to them about getting good grades and being good citizens. He was very generous with his time. And again, they might start stuffing the ballot box. Nice play by Clint Barmas, natural shortstop. He's played a fair amount of second base, and he gets Whiteside for the out.
Well, a lot of people think if you play the middle infield that it's an easy move over to second, but it's not, especially this throw here. This is a completely different angle and something that you don't do at all coming from shortstop. So he does a nice job of getting around that ball and throwing a perfect strike to first base. These guys always make it look easy.
Well, Wood makes it look easy. It's not supposed to be that way, especially for a pitcher in the batter's box. And he swings at the first pitch, bounces to Harrison, and Worley has gone through the order once without a base runner allowed. It's 1-0 Pirates after 3. Sponsored by Budweiser, designated driver, and enjoy the great times. And by T-Mobile. 1-0 Pirates as the visitors will bat here in the 4th inning. We chatted with one right-handed starter, Jason Hamill, with the Cubs, and we're now honored to have with us right-hander Garrett Cole from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Unfortunately, unlike Hamill, who's active, Garrett, you're on the disabled list with shoulder fatigue. So let's start by getting the update. What are you doing right now? And do you have an idea of when you might be back?
Yeah, we got one final checkpoint next Monday in Tampa, and get through that cleanly. And hopefully we get the Mets coming in following weekend, and we'll be ready to go by then.
So do you think no rehab assignment for you, just maybe some live BP or simulated and be ready to go?
Yeah, I didn't take much time off, and so I was able to kind of keep, kind of stay in shape that way. So they had me do a simulated game last week and do another extended simulated game on Monday, and should be good to go after that.
So you're just picking on your own teammates in those simulated games?
Yeah, but you know what? It's nice because you get good information from talking to them afterwards, and vice versa. So you know, it's actually a good atmosphere to pick up some information from.
Josh Harrison leading off for the Pirates here in the 4th against Travis Wood. Garrett, let's go back to last year. It was a magical season in Pittsburgh. Those great fans there came back in droves. You guys gave them a 94-win campaign. We got into the division series. What did that mean to not only the city but to the organization in general?
I think at first when we clinched there was a sigh of relief, but you know, that quickly wore off when it really wasn't over with the Reds and the Cardinals really pushing us towards the end, and you know, coming down to the wire, playing the wild card game, and then being able to you know, put up a good fight against St. Louis was a lot of fun. It was a good experience, and you know, it brought Pittsburgh baseball back on the map.
The 2-1 on Harrison is low and inside. We chatted with your manager, who was the National League Skipper of the Year last year before the game, and he mentioned the word hunger, and he said that's something he wants to see in all of his players. He said, I need to see it in myself. You've always struck me as one of those guys who has a lot of that.
I think it just comes down to loving to compete. I think, you know, we have a good group of guys that are, for lack of a better word, are hungry to get out there and just play every day. I think we all truly enjoy the game, and I think that's what makes us. I think that's what makes us special, and you know, allows us to, you know, stay in ball games late and keep fighting and never really give one away.
And kind of following up on that, I talked to A.J. Burnett last year, and we were talking about you, and the one thing that he said was that you didn't lack confidence. And he didn't say it in a bad way to say that you were arrogant or cocky, but that good kind of confidence to be in the big leagues at 22 years old last year and have a big year. How important was it for you, and kind of where does that come from?
I think it comes from preparation. You know, you have to stay disciplined between your starts, and you have to know that, you know, when you go out on the mound, that you've worked, you know, just as hard or harder than the guy that you're going to face, and you know, it takes a lot of confidence to play up here at this level. There's so many eyes on you all the time, and you know, if you don't believe that you can do it, you know, who else is really going to believe that? So you know, that's a big thing to be able to have success up here, and you know, it's contagious as well, and I think you saw that with the run that we made last year.
Harrison grounding out to Castro. All right, Garrett, let's go on the way back machine. You grew up in Southern California, but your dad from Syracuse, New York, went to a lot of Angels games. So you grew up a Yankee fan, right? And they actually drafted you out of high school in the first round, no less, 28th overall, but you decided to go to UCLA. Was that a tough decision for you?
Yeah. I mean, anytime you're presented with that opportunity, you have to take a hard look at it. And, you know, fortunately, I was able to make the right decision, and you know, playing in the College World Series and playing for UCLA was an honor as well. You know, but it was something that we had to think long and hard about, and you know, so I'm glad it paid off.
I would say so. You went from number 28 overall to number 1 overall 3 years later. Worked out.
Yeah, I would say it would.
Well, that's great, and you see, you know, guys betting on themselves. I mean, you're just talking about your confidence, and even be able to do it in high school. Most first-rounders are going to sign. They're going to find a way, and it's impressive to see a young man bet on himself and then come through 3 years later and have that great year and get drafted even higher. But I had to imagine it was being a little harder just because it was your team growing up on top of it. That's got to be a little bit tough.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, like I said, I was just fortunate to be in such a good situation. You know, at UCLA, there's not many better programs or better pitching coaches than Coach Savage, and you know, there's a lot of people that helped me along the way, and I'd be remiss if I didn't give them a lot of credit for getting me to where I am today.
So you're the number 1 overall pick in 2011. You become the Pirates' number 1 prospect. There are tons of external expectations. You clearly have a lot of personal expectations. Did you look at Baseball America? I'm sure people told you all about that stuff. How does that stuff affect somebody in your position?
I mean, it's hard not to notice that stuff, especially when it's available to you. You know, you just got to take it in stride. I think you got to understand that it comes with the territory, and you know, the higher levels you go, it's only going to get worse. I mean, you know, we have 15, 20 reporters in the clubhouse after every game up here, so and we're a small market team. I can only imagine New York, but you know, it's just it's just part of the game, and you kind of get used to it. But you know, it was definitely a fun experience to have.
Yeah, New York is a little bit worse. I spent a little bit of time with both New York teams, and there's a few more, but they're also a lot of friends I've made there, but also a little bit more unreasonable. I like to give them a hard time about it afterwards. How about you for year 2? What kind of adjustments have you seen after that first year in the big leagues, coming back around, second time around? Anything different for your sophomore campaign?
I think it's just there's a different level of familiarity. I think on both sides. You know, me pitching to some of the NL Central teams that I've seen quite a bit, like the Cubs and the Brewers, and then on the flip side, the same thing. You know, they've seen me 1 or 2 times, you know, even 3 times now, and it's just, you know, it's becoming more of an execution game and not really, you know, trying to, you know, do anything too crazy. You know, when it comes down to it, you got to make a pitch in a certain situation, and you're going to be judged on whether the fact you executed or not.
Garrett, I'm guessing you guys don't like the Brewers very much, which is okay, right?
I guess, you know, I mean, it's hard to, I guess it's kind of hard to really love a team that you play, I mean, 20 times a year. And you know, in such in a division like ours where it's a meat grinder and the top 3-4 teams are really just beating each other up all the time, I think it would be hard to really enjoy losing to another team in that situation. So, yeah.
Well, it's great to have you with us, and get back on the field soon, okay?
Sounds good, guys.
Thanks for the time, Garrett.
Thanks, Garrett.
That's Garrett Cole, and as we mentioned, they're going to need him back quickly as Martin really aired it out. As he got the green light, 3-1. That is an impressive young man.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking the exact same thing. I mean, this guy has been so good already at such a young age, what he's able to do. And when I had that conversation with A.J. Burnett, that was exactly what he had talked about. And that's required. If you want to be a young player, you get to the big leagues at such a young age. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will, and your talent will not transcend. It's one thing to have a tool that plays at the major league level. It's another thing to believe in it and to be able to execute what you can do so well. And he's done it. He really hasn't had very many bumps in the road so far in his young career.
Saying to Jeff Locke, you would not believe what they asked me.
At least he didn't really seem to get the sunflower seed treatment. Unless I missed it, it wasn't bad. We getting over that yet, or is that maybe just not a pirate thing?
They left him alone. I think when you're on the DL, you maybe get the benefit of the doubt, right? And he's a little intimidating, too.
He definitely is.
Runner goes on the 3-2. That's McCutchen, who just walked. Martin fouls it back. 6 full counts. Travis Wood has worked deep in the count here throughout. One mistake, he gave up the home run to Mercer. And the only other base runner, the walk to McCutchen.
Well, that pitch count is starting to creep up at 63, but he has been throwing the ball very well. The cutter has looked good. And these guys, Wood and both Vance Worley, although they're one lefty and one right, they're kind of pitching the same game. We're seeing a lot of cutters. We're seeing a lot of fastballs that go in the other direction. Two very similar pitchers. Kind of interesting to watch them do it. One as a lefty and one as a righty.
Wood looking for that ground ball. Good lead by McCutchen. Takes off, and he's going to have to stop and head back to first as Ruggiano makes the grab. 2 outs.
Well, that's a good at bat for Travis Wood right there, even though we did talk about how bad Russell Martin struggles against lefties. He worked the count. He got himself into a very favorable count at 3-1, but Wood did not give in and continued to make good pitches and was able to retire Martin.
Well, Tabata, he flied to right his first time. He's been hitting for average here lately. Has not hit for much power, though, so far as a major leaguer. His manager thinks there's more in there. And I think the big question for Tabata, will he get a chance to show it with the Pirates? Because now you've got Marte signed to a long-term deal in left. You've got McCutchen in center and the kid Polanco in right.
Well, the clock is definitely ticking, and he's gotten pushed to the side a little bit because of the young talent that the Pittsburgh Pirates have. He is in the middle of that contract that runs through 2016, a very team favorable contract at $15.5 million. But like you said, you wonder where the at-bats are going to come from. And if it becomes potentially a trade piece, there's going to be conversations. All teams are going to be making those phone calls leading up to July 31st. He may be a guy someone is interested in taking a chance on, a team that can offer him more at-bats than he can get right now.
McCutchen runs, and Whiteside's throw a little high. Boy, quick tag by Darwin Barney, and McCutchen may be hurt.
And there's nothing dirty about this play by Barney. He just tried to get the tag down as quick as he could, exactly like he's supposed to. It ended up where it ended up being right on top of Andrew. McCutchen said, look, I see a little smile there, so he may be okay, but watch Barney bring that glove down. And oh, he actually got him with the forearm, part of his elbow.
Well, the perils of the headfirst slide. Many organizations essentially ban it in the minor leagues to get guys to get out of this habit. And while some base stealers are simply just going to do it, you probably would rather not see your MVP do it.
Absolutely. You'd like him to take every precaution. You don't ever want to lose Andrew McCutchen to injury. It's so hard, though, for guys because the instinct is there. And they see that base, and it's what they're so used to doing. And it's almost like they're just diving and trying to grab that base. Going in feet first just seems so much more difficult and unlikely for them to get there on time. And sometimes they want to hook slide a little bit and move around and try to slap the hand in there, where if they go feet first, they're unable to do that. But McCutchen seems to be okay.
Chatting it over with Barney. And the second base umpire, Bill Welke. So McCutchen, 10 out of 10. When he runs, he's usually safe. He's always been safe this year. The 2-0 to Tabata outside. 3 balls, no strikes.
And you were talking about him last inning and the work that he's done here on the road. And really, if you think about a player and a person, could you build a better big leaguer than Andrew McCutchen? I don't think you could.
Nope. And I think that's why the Pirates are so excited about Gregory Polanco, is that he gets to play alongside McCutchen and gets to learn from one of the best about how to go about your business. And inside, that's 2 walks in the inning for Travis Wood, and it'll bring up Sanchez.
Clint Hurdle talked about that before the game with us just a little bit, about how he's getting leadership from his guys like Andrew McCutchen and Russell Martin, and what they've been able to do and how important that is. And like you said earlier, that comes from up top. It kind of starts with him and the way that he treats guys and the tone that he's trying to set. So they're very fortunate to have Andrew McCutchen. I was with him his very first spring training in 2005 as an 18-year-old kid who came out of high school, 11th overall pick, and to see what he has become has been pretty amazing.
Inside on Sanchez. 27 pitches made by Wood here in this 4th inning. He's grinding.
excuse me, 2006 was his first major league spring training. He was a 2005 draftee.
And the 1-0 is fouled back to the screen.
I promise you that will not be my last mistake of the evening.
No problem. You got it right. That's all that matters.
I am a rookie. Still have the star next to my name.
Pirates trying to even up this series. The Cubs beat them 6-3 yesterday afternoon. Now 1-2. That look right there is Travis Wood when he's happy and when he's upset. Like I said, he's very tight with Cliff Lee, and you can never tell how it's going. They're pretty much the same in terms of the look, no matter what. 2-2.
Well, that's what you really would love to have out of all your pitchers and really all your players, because this game can beat you up if you let it. And if you can control your emotions and be the same guy when you're winning and doing great as you are when you're struggling and doing bad, it's a great trait to have as a Major League Baseball player.
Right side will give it a look, but it'll make the seats.
Nice grab.
Let's check out Fox Tracks. Kind of been all over, in and out against Sanchez, and as we mentioned, he's had Gabby's number in their respective careers.
And that fifth pitch right there is one that Travis Wood would tell you he got away with, and Gabby Sanchez would tell you he wished he had another shot at. You're not going to throw too many up there intentionally.
McCutchen at second. He walked and stole a base. Tabata just took a free passes at first. And high and deep. Left center. COGHLAN calling and catching. Boy, some heavy air here. I don't think the ball's really flying much at Wrigley Field. Still 1-0 Pirates. The Cubs fourth against Vance Worley, who has not given up a base runner. Big day yesterday for COGHLAN from the 2 spot in Chicago's lineup. A triple in his first at bat, a walk in his second AB, and then a hanger from Charlie Morton. And he hit it out to right. COGHLAN, the Rookie of the Year in the National League in 2009 with the Florida Marlins. He's had some injury problems since.
That was a big year, 2009 for him. He had 321, an on base of 390, but since then, 240 with just an on base percentage of 307. So you talked about the injuries and the acclimation, just like we were talking about with Gerrit Cole. That second year, second time around. Polanco's going to go through it here pretty soon. And learning the league and people learning you and the adjustments can be very difficult at the major league level.
There's a ground ball into right, and Worley's no-hitter is over pretty early in the 4th inning. So he will work from the stretch for the first time.
Tried to throw that ball down and away, split the plate. It looked like a 2-seam fastball. COGHLAN does a nice job driving it to the right side. If he pulled the ball a little bit more, they could have put the shift on. It would have been a ground out. But
by the way, Worley, that was the first time he had ever retired the first 9 hitters. In this, his 58th career start.
And think about his 10 innings since he's been here now. He's certainly making a case to stick around. Liriano's got to come back. Gerrit Cole's got to come back. So roster moves have to be made. But he's certainly done a nice job up to this point.
Now, the other injury we should mention is right-hander Jameson Taillon. He had Tommy John surgery, their top prospect in terms of pitching. Will miss the whole year. And before that injury, the Pirates were thinking he might be ready to make his debut later this season.
How frustrating for a young player when you start to hear those rumblings. Your season's going well. You're on the right track. The big leagues are around the corner. And then he has the ever-dreaded Tommy John surgery. Now, he's only 22 years old. So he certainly has plenty of time to recover, but has to be a little frustrated, I am sure. Regardless of how successful that surgery is, it's not fun to go through the rehab process. We're very trying.
Fly ball, long strides by Polanco, and he'll get to the spot for the out. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, celebrates 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit MLB.com for details. And fans, follow every game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.TV game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store. Visit MLB.com today.
I am not on commission. I will tell you that MLB at bat is incredible for any baseball fan. Your ability to follow games. I use it when we do our studio show for Fox Sports 1. I have that, my MLB at bat up there. It is so easy to follow everything and keep up with everything that's going around Major League Baseball.
Rizzo fouls off. And 1 ball, 1 strike.
There it is. MLB whip around. Myself, Chris Myers, Gabe Kapler, Frank Thomas. Love the free plugs.
Well, you don't miss anything around baseball. Whip around. Rizzo sends one high in the air, deep to right. Polanco back at the wall. It is gone. A 2-run homer for Anthony Rizzo. And just like that, the Cubs have the lead. It's 2-1.
Swing by Rizzo. This is not a bad pitch. A backdoor breaking ball is down. He hooked that ball just like we saw from Mercer on the other side. And I know Paul Goldschmidt is probably the best first baseman in the National League, but Anthony Rizzo is not far behind. You can dig in the numbers a little bit and make a case that he is right there with Goldschmidt. He's really coming into his own. He's looked great this year.
15 home runs for Anthony Rizzo. Castro's back. Came in hitting .290. In terms of rate stats, putting together the best year of his career. And those two developments are huge for this young Cubs club.
Absolutely. And the talk that we have, the conversation that we have a lot of times on the national level on studio shows, is that the offense is going to be good for this organization. Things are looking good with the development of Castro and Rizzo and what they're doing this year, but also with what's coming. And Chris Bryant, an exciting guy with a lot of pop who just got to AAA. And it seems like the bats will be there over these next couple of years. And it's just a matter of, can you get the arms to go with it? That could really take this organization up a couple of notches where they become perennial contenders.
2 balls and a strike. Here's a pitch. Good home run cut by Castro, who has been the Cubs cleanup man now for the last 50 games, and the power has increased as he's become a cleanup man, slugging over .500 in this spot.
So I think it's a good job by Rick Renteria recognizing that he could go into that spot, just like we've seen from Carlos Gomez this year, a guy who was hit at the top of the lineup as a leadoff guy. Ron Renicky moves him in the 4-hole and he goes off, and he sees the talent there and he sees the ability. And it's rare, I think, to see guys that can bat 4 and usually somewhere else higher in the lineup, especially 1 or 2, but to still be able to provide the power and the RBIs that you're looking for out of your 4-hole hitter.
3 balls, 2 strikes. And off the plate outside, ball 4. First walk issued by Worley. Again, he had retired the first 9 of the ball game, but then the leadoff single to COGHLAN got Bruziano on a flyout. Rizzo the homer. Castro with the walk. Rick Renteria in his first year. There are some similarities between Renteria and Clint Hurdle. They're both very positive guys. Kind of pat him on the back kind of guys. Clint's been doing this a lot longer than Ricky has. Certainly the motivation part of the job is really important.
I think a lot of times managers are undervalued, especially from people outside of the game. And say, well, how much control does a manager really have? And what you're talking about is not rah-rah, blowing smoke, everything's great. There is a fine line in there, and Clint Hurdle certainly does it well, where it's, I'm behind you, I have your back, but I'm also going to kick your butt when I have to once in a while to get you going. And the good managers can do that.
Inside on Valbuena.
Last thing you want to be told is that everything's going great, and then next thing you know, you find yourself back in AAA and say, what happened? Right? Well, you really weren't doing this. I want to hear that from the beginning. It's that kind of tough fatherly love that both of these managers give their players, and they have to, because they're young teams. There's not a lot of established veterans, and it becomes very necessary.
1-1 on Valbuena. The pitch. Fly ball, shallow left. Tabata will get to the spot. Castro back to first. If you just joined us, we started a couple of hours late due to rain in the area. Pitchers got off to a good start. Jordy Mercer led off the 3rd with a homer off Travis Wood. But the Cubs have come back here in the bottom of the 4th. Anthony Rizzo with a 2-run shot. Strike on Lake. He's basically the same age as Starlin Castro. They were born 3 days apart. Both came up as shortstops. Lake eventually moved to 3rd and then to the outfield. So he's learning how to play the outfield. He's got a lot of raw tools. He's been swinging and missing a lot, but when he makes contact, CJ, the ball goes a long way. He's got 9 home runs.
So this guy has some power. My last year I played was in winter ball. Actually, I retired. January 2013 was the last time I played professionally. He was down in Dominican Republic, and I saw him in winter ball. Didn't know much about him until I saw him come up to the plate and display some of that power down in the DR. And you're absolutely right. It's in that bat, and it's just a matter of finding that consistency when you're facing the toughest pitching you're going to see anywhere.
I think that's an example. He got a piece of it, but that is a pretty big 0-2 swing.
It is, and I tell you, though, the trend in baseball, we've seen a lot of that. You know, we just don't see the shortening up with 2 strikes in baseball a lot. And it is a big swing with 2 strikes, and you see his head come out just a little bit, and he was lucky to even get that little piece that he did. But I don't think players care about strikeouts as much as they used to. They're not embarrassed by him. Teams don't seem to care as much. As long as you are taking your walks and the on base is there and you're hitting some home runs, they're going to be okay with that. It's a different game.
Fly ball to right. Polanco will get it, and the inning is over. Pirates started the inning with a lead, but the Cubs finish it with the advantage. Rizzo with a 2-run homer, and it's 2-1 Chicago. Cubs 2 and the Pirates 1. Jordy Mercer's already hit a leadoff homer. Tonight will bat for the Pirates. Anthony Rizzo just went deep to give his team the lead. Ball 1 to Mercer. He's having a pretty good month of June. He got off to a slow start in April and May. Wood with a 1-0. It's a strike. He's hit a couple already in this series. This was off Edwin Jackson to get the Pirates back into the game yesterday. 3-run homer, and then tonight in the 3rd off the lefty. And a base hit. He's locked in. You know, I've said, CJ, seeing a lot of different teams, it's not necessarily who you play, it's when you play it. And there are stretches for every guy, but the number 7 hitter in the Pirates lineup, you wouldn't think would be the guy to beat you, but Mercer's had the best series so far for the Pirates.
Absolutely, and Clint Hurdle keeps him in that spot so you don't panic and move a guy around. You put him in a spot where he's comfortable, and you catch some teams off guard. There's a lot of times where you might look up at the overall numbers and say, well, Jordy Mercer's hitting .229 coming in today, and your concentration maybe comes down just a little bit. You don't focus on him as much, and then all of a sudden he takes advantage of a mistake, 2 of them tonight that we have seen, and you're absolutely right. It is not always about the player's name, the team, but how they're playing at that time.
One strike on Barmes. Playing for Clint Hurdle for the 2nd time in his career. Rockies and Pirates.
You see that pitch count now at 80 with no outs here. in the top of the 5th, really creeping up on Travis Wood. He's been battling. He's made some great pitches today, but the Pittsburgh Pirates are really making him work too.
Outside 2-1. You referred to really the big shift for Travis Wood last year. Arm side command. And really working that cutter on both sides of the plate to righties. He does not have overpowering stuff, so his command has to be pretty good for him to be successful. 3-1.
And that backdoor cutter, which is that one that a lefty will throw to a right-handed hitter, it's a pitch that starts out a ball and remains a ball almost the entire time and just catches the corner of the plate. It is a very dangerous pitch, because if you miss just a little bit to the right and over the plate, it becomes very hittable, especially when you're talking about the velocity that Travis Wood is pitching with.
Three and two. The pitcher, Worley, is on deck. So we'll see how aggressive Clint Hurdle wants to be here with a base runner on a 3-2 count with nobody out. Not going. And a little humpback liner will be handled by Ruggiano in right. Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball, presents the walk-off. Great walk-offs are waiting at foxsports.com/Budweiser. Grab some buds. Bunting spot for Worley. That's conventional wisdom, and considering he's a 144 hitter, it's most likely as he squares early. Inside almost hit him.
And this is really where the difference is in the leagues show. And I've always been a guy that says I like the difference between the leagues. I like the DH in the American League. I like that we don't have it in the National League. But with the way that interleague play is now, and the fact that it lasts the entire season, I kind of think it's maybe time for the DH to come to the National League. And that is really going to upset some people when they hear it. But it is a completely different game.
Good job by Worley. That'll go 2-4 on the sacrifice. I would prefer no DH in either league, but I do agree with you that I think if and when the time comes to get everybody on the same page, I think the DH is here to stay.
It is, and that's ultimately because the Major League Baseball Players Association will never give in on giving the DH up. That is 15 high-paying jobs that they are going to hold on to very closely. But the issue is, like I talked about, not only just with interleague play, but think about the offseason. Brian McCann is a perfect example of a guy who hits the free agent market that a lot of National League teams would probably like to have, or at least be in on the bidding. They can't, because they know he's probably going to have to play first base or become a DH near the end of his career, and so they can't compete for him. And that's a good player that comes off the free agent market for most National League teams. And that's a big factor as well, and also for pitchers, and how often pitchers have to come out a little earlier than we'd like to see them, because they're going to get pinch hit for sometimes in the 6th or 7th inning. So there's other factors there than just adding 15 guys that can only hit and do nothing else.
Well, I can tell you one thing. The guy on the mound right now would not be happy about our conversation. As Polanco sends one high in the air. COGHLAN way off the line, so he's got a long run, and it lands foul. Good effort by COGHLAN. Boy, it gets treacherous over there with the bullpen mound starting about a foot into foul territory, and actually the grade starts to change even where the grass meets the foul line.
And there's a lot going through a fielder's mind as COGHLAN is running toward the line here. That mound is there. The wall is not much further behind it, and it's a long run. A little false hustle there, diving, and no chance of catching that ball, but you do appreciate the effort.
Looks really good in X-Plane.
And don't get me wrong, as a pitcher, I want my guy diving for that ball, even if he has zero chance of catching it. You just never know, I guess.
Polanco has struck out both times tonight. Came in with a 10-game hitting streak. A Pirate record to start his career. 1-1. He's downstairs, 2 balls and a strike.
What a great opportunity here for Gregory Polanco to grow, going up against a good lefty who he's seen multiple times now. 2 strikeouts this game. How he adjusts to the game plan and what he sees, because there's really not a lot of secrets with Travis Wood. You're getting a 2-seamer or a cutter most likely. Lefty on lefty. He's seen it enough now. Be interesting to see how he adjusts. This is a good looking cutter right here. 2-1, you're thinking hitter's favor, but at the knees. Polanco did not see that when he was in the minor leagues. Nice pitch from Travis Wood.
Blown outside, yet another count that's gone to the limit for Travis Wood.
91 now, a season high. He threw 112 pitches twice, including that last game where he went 8 shutout innings against the Philadelphia Phillies. He's going to get to 100 pretty quickly tonight.
He's going full now 8 different times in these 5 innings. He's gotten a lot of fly ball outs. Fox tracks and really working down and away for the most part. A couple pitches have gotten up, but out of the strike zone. And that one is in.
And I was kind of wondering, and now that was unintentional, but after we saw that Fox tracks and everything was away, I was wondering if they were going to try to surprise Gregory Polanco with something in. They did, but it was not what Travis Wood was intending to do. As you see Eli Whiteside setting up away. And even if that ball did catch some of the plate, you're almost never going to get that call with your catcher set up on the opposite side. Might not have been a bad idea, though. You see away. Try to sneak one by in, but he's such a good hitter. He could easily hit that ball in right field seats as well.
So Wood has now walked 3 over the last 2 innings. And it's Harrison who's 0 for 2. 2 men on, 2 down. And a ground ball that will get into center field. And the Pirates have tied it up. Josh Harrison comes through yet again. What a year he has had. Mercer in, and it's 2-2.
What a great job by Harrison right there. After the long at bat from Polanco and all the pitches that he saw, you know Travis Wood is thinking he wants to get ahead. So he throws something here that catches a lot of the plate, and Harrison doesn't let it get by, doesn't try to do too much with it. Take it right back up the box. And Clint Hurdle will never say to us who his favorite player was, but after that meeting today, you kind of got the impression that he just maybe had a little bit of a player crush on Josh Harrison, maybe one of his favorites, because he'll play anywhere, because of how aggressive he is.
In the dirt. Time now for Pepsi's Real Big Things You Need to Know. What a month for Andrew McCutchen. He loves June. He's always been good as the weather has heated up. Make it a real big summer with 3 new flavors of Pepsi made with real sugar. Wood really grinding tonight. Right now in a 2-2 tie in the 5th. And facing the Pirates' best hitter, as that will get out of play down the right field line. So the question of protection in a lineup, it has long been held that certain guys can protect other guys in the lineup, batting behind guys, but aren't too many guys who are going to necessarily protect McCutchen. I think pitchers generally don't want to have to go right after them if they don't have to, but maybe Josh Harrison got a better pitch to hit because McCutchen was on deck.
Absolutely, that is true. You're going to go after the guy in front of the guy who's red hot the way Andrew McCutchen is. And sometimes that's a little bit overrated. The protection really only comes into play late in the game in big situations, and maybe you're going to pitch around a guy. You very rarely do we have that kind of intentional walk that we talk about. You're trying to get guys out. Unless the game is on the line late, you're going to go right after it. Think about Miami, what's going on with the Miami Marlins and Giancarlo Stanton. Who was going to protect him this year, we thought? Casey McGee comes back from Japan. Oh, my goodness, I'm thinking they're never going to pitch to Giancarlo Stanton. He's having a monster year, and Casey McGee's doing a great job behind him.
And not hitting home runs, but driving in a ton. Big 3-1 pitch for Wood. That ball hit very hard on the ground, and the Pirates will regain the lead. Polanco will come around to score. And it's now 3-2 Pittsburgh. So McCutchen with his 43rd RBI of the year. Well, hitting coaches love innings like this, stringing together good at bat after good at bat. We saw Polanco keep the line moving with his walk. Harrison and McCutchen with back-to-back RBI hits.
And a really good key at bat by Gregory Polanco, talking about that walk. Full count. He had 2 strikes on him. He fought off a couple of good pitches and worked the count. Now with that pitch count getting high, see some action in the Cubs bullpen.
And Ricky Renteria has already made the call. It'll be right-hander Brian Schlitter. So that's it for Travis Wood. It's 3-2 Pirates in the 5th, and we'll be right back. For the Cubs, 2 outs here in the 5th. And it's sinker baller Brian Schlitter, who's done a nice job for Ricky Renteria this year. And he'll face Russell Martin with runners at the corners. Trying to get out of this inning. Schlitter 6'5", 235. He's from nearby Park Ridge, Illinois.
You talk about that good sinker that he has, which lends himself to a very good ground ball rate. He has the best coming out of that Chicago Cubs bullpen. And when you have an arm like that, that's the kind of guy you like to use with runners on base, especially with less than 2 outs. Try to get that double play. Now he inherits 2 outs here. But you love relievers. You look for 2 things: swings and misses and ground balls for me. For Schlitter, that is his strength. 56.7% ground ball rate. Very nice.
McCutchen already with a stolen base tonight. And the pitch. It's a little high. 1-1. Schlitter had to deal with some elbow problems a few years ago. And that guy tonight dealt with too many deep counts and just did not throw enough strikes. There's the ground ball. And Valbuena will throw out Russell Martin. Well, 2 out RBIs, big ones for the Pirates. Harrison to tie it. McCutchen to give the Pirates the lead. Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Happy summer solstice, everybody. We were greeted by a downpour earlier, but this morning I was out and about in downtown Chicago, and everybody's outside after a long winter and a long spring. Summer has finally arrived.
I was completely lied to by my taxi driver. I talked to him. I said, hey, it's some bad weather, maybe rain. Oh, no, it's going to be beautiful today. And like you, I saw everybody out by the water and bathing suits and bikinis everywhere. And 6 o'clock, sure enough. Uh-oh.
Fouled back our way by Barney. Brian Schlitter got the final out of the top of this inning, and that'll probably be it for him since the pitcher spot is due up third here in this frame. So Worley has another lead. A 1-run advantage for the second time. CJ, I noticed as we see Justin Grimm up in the Cubs pen, Worley from the windup kind of shakes his hand inside his glove. Might be to prevent other teams from picking up that he's tipping his pitches. Well, lined and will get over Mercer and into left center. Barney on his way to second. The throw there. Not in time. A close play. Darwin Barney took a chance and it paid off, but here comes Clint Hurdle.
Well, now we get to see how the game has changed so much. Clint Hurdle, no, they already have the replay.
Well, that was
so
quick.
They must already know that he was safe. You figure we were going to get the slow walk to second base. But they must have saw it pretty quickly. And great hustle here, by Darwin Barney. Thinking double right away, as all good base runners do. He knows it's a single, thinking a base ahead. Great hustle. Looks like he just gets his left hand in there. And that is the difference. And we just talked about the head first slides. If he goes in feet first there, he's probably going to be out. That gives him an opportunity to maneuver his hand if he has to go around the glove. A very close play.
Worley thought he was out. We've had 2 head-first slides and 2 guys hit on the noggin. So Barney's helmet came off, but he got in there safely. It's kind of a painful double.
Just think about back in the day when there were no helmets, and we think about when you're hitting, that was why they were there. But what about these tags that we've seen? How many guys have taken one on the noggin, especially back in the day when those players maybe not as friendly with each other? Helmets become very important.
outside, tried to bunt it and fouled it.
Getting back to your point on Worley and why he would shake his glove like that, you're exactly right. A lot of guys will get into habits with certain pitches and they don't realize it in the middle of the game. Sometimes it could be your changeup. You may dig on your changeup and move your glove one way or your wrist and not realize it, and then do nothing on your fastball, as an example. And hitters will be able to pick up on it. There are guys sitting in the dugout studying opposing pitchers, looking for just a little bit something that they can pick up on. And so what a pitcher will do sometimes is shake his glove like that every time to make sure he's not giving anything away.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. And we'll now see a pinch hitter. It'll be left-handed hitting Ryan Sweeney. 1 away here in the 5th. Third strikeout for Worley, the first of the swinging variety. Tying run there at second base. Barney led off the inning with a double. And the Cubs will rely on their bullpen the rest of the night. It's been a really good bullpen here lately. Clint Hurdle will try to get as much mileage out of his starter as he can tonight. Not much damage done by the Cubs off the bench. Interesting, CJ, we just showed you 4 RBIs off the bench. But Travis Wood won a ball game in extra innings earlier this week with his bat. Rick Renteria kind of ran out of position players and called on Wood. We didn't really get to see Travis do much with the bat tonight. And that's a foul ball. He came up with 2 outs in the top of the 13th in Miami. And knocked in Junior Lake with a pinch hit RBI double as the Cubs grabbed a win.
Amazing at moving around the bases really well. Also, and you just wonder, you talked about the bench not being particularly strong. I almost wonder if he'd be not even a last resort pinch hitting option, but something that Rick Renteria would feel comfortable going to even before some of the guys on his bench. I know that would hurt some feelings along the way for those guys, but if you have a pitcher who can swing it, Gallardo's another guy in Milwaukee who we've talked about, who had that big walk-off double himself this year. You just wonder if a manager is just tempted to use a good hitting pitcher in front of some of his pinch hitters that may be going through a rough stretch.
Samardzija has run into a couple in his career. Good athlete. Cub fans remember Carlos Zambrano. He hit a lot of home runs here. Fergie Jenkins back in the day. Very good hitter.
So
you'd like to get rid of all of them.
Well,
you want them just to pitch.
Listen, I loved batting practice. Got a couple of big league hits, which I'm particularly proud of. Mostly because I was a pitcher only by the time I was 15. I didn't even hit in high school or college. So maybe that's part of it as well. But it's fun for pitchers, but I just think we get better baseball.
That's a fair ball just inside the bag, and Sanchez will beat Sweeney. Barney now at third, 2 outs in the inning.
But really the bigger thing for me is more about leveling the competition. Again, using Brian McCann as an example. National League teams can't compete for that bat, and he'll go to an American League team because they don't have the DH.
And I also think, you alluded to it earlier, because we have interleague play every day, the way you construct a roster puts American League teams at a disadvantage in terms of their starters not hitting much when they go to National League parks, and vice versa. National League teams sometimes have to kind of figure out, okay, you're going to DH today. It's not something guys in this league do very often.
If you remember, interleague play used to kind of happen in 2 separate sections over the course of the schedule, and so maybe for those 2 weeks you could change your roster a little bit and bring up a guy from AAA, carry 1 or more less pitchers, however you'd like to work your roster, but you really can't do that now because interleague is spread out throughout the entire season, and that is a big part of it for me. And the other story too was Corey Hart this year, a guy who was with the Milwaukee Brewers his entire career. Doug Melvin wanted him back, would love to have had him back, could not afford to pay him the money the Seattle Mariners could because they could slide him in the DH role. And the Milwaukee Brewers could not. And so they lost a homegrown player who they liked a lot because they did not have DH at bats to give to him.
Two off the mask of Russell Martin.
Don't be a catcher. Just it's like I got a little guy. I got 2 boys and my 6-year-old constantly squatting down. I'm like, no, stand up. Be a left-handed pitcher. It's the easiest way. It's the quickest way and the least painful.
2 strikes to COGHLAN, and that's off the plate in. And just to finish up the DH point, one of the beauties of baseball is that in the final series of the season, the World Series, you have different rules depending on the venue. But then some people say, is it fair that you've got a DH in the American League Park and no DH in the National League?
About the Los Angeles Dodgers and the year they're having, and when their outfield is completely healthy, when they have Crawford, Ethier, Puig, and Matt Kemp, how much would they like to have a DH? How much better would that team be? The St. Louis Cardinals, I think, are in that same situation with a guy like Alan Craig and Tavares, who they had to send back down.
Don Mattingly would like it. Make his job easier. 3-2 on COGHLAN. Tying run at third, 2 outs here in the 5th.
And think about the Red Sox. All the money you pay David Ortiz, and then for some games in the World Series, you're not allowed to use him. And there's going to be days during the season and interleague play that you don't want him on that field. You prefer he just not pick up a glove and go to first base. And I think there's a lot of good reasons. I understand the tradition. I thought that way for a long time. I love the separation, the distinction of leagues, but I think we're really getting there where this needs to be addressed.
Good battle here between Worley and COGHLAN. Bounce back to the pitcher. Nice play by Worley, and he will get out of it. So he works around the leadoff double. C.J. Netkowski, 2 for 15 with an RBI in his great career.
Tell your friends.
Sponsored by Bear Back and Body, the official pain reliever of MLB, and by Burger King. Right now, try the new extra long barbecue cheeseburger. Time now for our lows never stop improving pitcher profile. We're going to look at the Cubs bullpen, and their ERA keeps going down, which is in the right direction. They started with Jose Veras, veteran closer, and he struggled early, eventually got hurt, no longer with the club, but a lot of hard-throwing young pitchers. Here's one of them, Justin Grimm. Lows never stop improving. 1 strike on Jose Tabata. Rick Renteria has an interesting stable of young pitchers, and he has used all of them in just about every spot.
Well, I like that. That's a good way to find out what you have. Don't be afraid to move guys around. Try them in different roles. This team is not going to contend this year. And this is an opportunity to see what those guys are made of. And when it does come time to contend, what you really have and where you're comfortable using your relief pitchers.
Good breaking ball from Grimm. It's 1-2. He came over in the Matt Garza deal from the Texas Rangers last year. And might project eventually as a starting pitcher, which he did in Texas, but has worked out of the bullpen so far with the Cubs. Outside 2-2.
When you're having a losing season and you know that you're probably not going to be there, it is nice when your bullpen is productive, because those losses late in the game are some of the most deflating for a team, especially when things aren't going your way. So it's a nice luxury for Rick Renteria to have, is more than a handful of relievers that he can count on.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3.
Good looking breaking ball there from Grimm. It backed up just a little bit, but he still kept it down. He was trying to sweep it away from the right-handed hitting Tabata, but nevertheless gets the result that he's looking for.
Clint Hurdle will stick with his right-handed hitting first baseman Gabby Sanchez. Ike Davis acquired in April. It's most, if not all, of the starts against right-handers, but they still see several more Cub relievers here in the final few innings. Grimm from the stretch with nobody on. Did you go from the windup as a reliever with nobody on, or did you stay from the stretch all the time? That's what most guys today do, to stick with one delivery.
And I prefer that they do that. When I first went from starting to relieving, I still liked to wind up. I felt like I threw harder and had better momentum. But you are going to make your biggest pitches from the stretch with guys on base. So you need to get comfortable with it and really master that part of your delivery as a reliever. It drives me crazy when I see relievers go from the windup with a runner on third base. You should absolutely be able to make your best pitch from the stretch. You're going to have to more often than not anyway.
3-0 the count on Sanchez. Make it 3-1. Ground ball, and it gets past Castro. Might have got a glove on it. And it'll be a base hit for Sanchez. The ball was hit hard.
It was, and loud. We don't say that too often about a ground ball, but we heard that one all the way up here. You got to wonder on a drier night if maybe Castro's able to get more of a glove on him. He's still going to be a tough play even if he catches it cleanly. You see his spikes right there full of dirt. You're always going to be a little bit slower on these moist nights. As much rain as this field took, and it was a lot.
Mercer already a homer, a single, and has scored both times. Pirates starting the day's action 9 games back in the division, 4th place. Milwaukee a winner, 9-4 at Colorado. But in the wild card, much different. Just 3.5 out. A bunch of teams, however, ahead of them. They need, a good 11-3 stretch, something like that. Got to get over 500. They have spent much of the year just below the 500 mark. You really can't talk about true contention until you have a winning record. And they're 3 under right now.
And they'll really be counting on Francisco Liriano getting it turned around when he comes back. Garrett Cole being who he was before he went on the DL. And Edinson Volquez, a guy that they picked up who they looked at as a reclamation project, at times has been very good. If they can get consistency out of him, then they have a chance. But they're going to rely heavily on those 3 guys to get them where they want to be this year.
1-1. Now 2-1. Sanchez not a threat to steal necessarily. The way he'd be moving is to try to avoid a double play. And right on cue.
Done this before.
3. And the inning is over. It's 3-2 Pirates from Chicago. Standings. Been a struggle for the Giants lately, so the Dodgers still hanging around, and then kind of everybody else right now. Boy, the Diamondbacks got off to just a dismal start, and they've been well below 500 for much of the year.
And the Padres kind of underperforming. They were kind of like the Kansas City Royals, everybody's favorite sleeper in the National League, and they really haven't gotten it down. They just cannot score runs. An abysmal rate for them. But how about the Giants? I know they struggled lately, but I think we kind of forgot about them a little bit going into the season, and they have been very, very good this year.
Worley continues on as Ruggiano bounces it foul. This is Vance Worley's second career start in this ballpark. His first start was a good one with the Phillies in 2011. He went 8 innings in a 9-1 victory. Game time temperature was 97 degrees that day. Not quite as warm here tonight, but a lot of humidity, so I'm sure he's working up a sweat nonetheless. One and two the count. Rizzo, who homered his last at bat, is lurking on deck. Then Castro. Mercer slings it across. Ruggiano 0 for 3. And now Rizzo will stand in. A strikeout and a homer tonight. This blast gave the Cubs a 2-1 lead in the fourth on a breaking ball.
And the reason that he's able to hit that backdoor breaking ball out is because he is on top of the plate. You see that in that replay. And he's so big, an opposing figure. But if you're off the plate, you cannot get to the ball that is away, especially a breaking ball down and away, and pull it to the right field, to right field for a home run like that.
Going to go in. And he bounces it foul. He actually struck out on a pitch yesterday that hit him in the back foot. And that's not the first time it has happened this year, but he really crowds home plate. So when he homers, it's good things for the Cubs. 10 straight wins. And he has gone deep. This one's not going to get out, but Polanco playing really deep. He's going to make it for the out. With some long strides out there from the 6'4", and as you said, maybe 6'5", Gregory Polanco.
He may not be done growing, but they were joking about it in the Pirate Clubhouse before the game today that about his leg length is about midsection on Andrew McCutcheon when they stand next to each other, and you can even see it from the far shot. It's an impressive body type, and you always look for comparisons, and Clint Hurdle was reluctant to get into that conversation a little bit, but he said it from a body type standpoint, a little bit like Darryl Strawberry. We've heard other people use that comparison as well. You can do a lot of things when you're that big and that long. Now there's also some downside to it as far as repeating your mechanics, but it's an impressive physique for Polanco and lots of room to grow as well.
The 0-1, Castro fouls back. Still leads the team in RBIs with 43. Rizzo, though, is now just one behind him after that 2-run homer. Bounced off the foot. Well, Gregory Polanco trying to have a year that Yasiel Puig had when he took the Dodgers and the National League by storm. And I think the main thing is the Pirates hope that Polanco has the same effect team-wise that Puig had last year on the Dodgers.
And I think that's a realistic expectation. Now, the thing with the Dodgers last year that was different was that they seemed like they were kind of going through the motions. They were a high payroll team that seemed to lack some life. And Puig, and don't forget Hanley Ramirez, he came back off the DL around the same time. And they both infused that team with some energy.
A quick 10-pitch inning for Vance Worley. We're back after a word from our local sponsors. Brought to you by Moto G from Motorola. We started a couple of hours late. Anthony Rizzo with a big 2-run homer to give the Cubs their only lead, but the Pirates would come back, get a couple of runs in the 5th. Andrew McCutchen with the go-ahead single. And Vance Worley, second start with the Pirates, has been really good both times out. Grimm, his second inning of work as he pitches to Clint Barnes. Worley is on deck and nobody up in the Pirate bullpen. We saw Jared Hughes a little earlier. Fouled back, 0-2.
We talked about it before the game for the Chicago Cubs. Try to get to Vance Worley early. Jason Grilli is not the closer of the Pittsburgh Pirates anymore. But from the 7th inning on, they're still very good, and especially the 8th. Melanson is solid. Watson is solid. Boy, if he can get through 7, Clint Hurdle would be very pleased.
0-2. And we'll do it again. The news came out before yesterday's ball game that veteran closer Jason Grilli had been taken out of the closer's role. He did appear in the game yesterday. The Pirates were trailing. So Melanson, with his great cutter, takes over in the 9th. And we might see Tony Watson possibly in a safe spot depending on matchups. As Ruggiano with a little leap, nicely done. What a catch by Ruggiano. That ball took off on him. Barnes has made excellent contact 3 times, and he's 0 for 3.
Great hustle by Ruggiano. We saw him running hard the whole way and almost a little bit surprised that the ball took off on him at the end, but he stayed with it, and a nice leaping grab at the end. Slowed down a little bit right there, and then realized, whoa, almost got over his head.
Always a good sign when your starting pitcher gets 3 plate appearances. And Worley looks at a strike. Sacramento native. We call him the Vanimal. Long Beach State. 3rd rounder of the Phillies in 08. In 2011 he went 11-3. Pretty good contact here, but that's always going to be an out when you hit it to Darwin Barney. So Polanco in his 11th career game. The first 10 have gone pretty well. He made his debut against these Cubs on June 10th. 3 days later, 5 hits and the game-winning home run in the 13th inning. No Pirate in team history before Polanco had ever hit safely in the first 10 games of his career.
It really has been impressive to watch. Think about a young guy, all the pressure, all the hype that was surrounding him, and to answer the bell right away takes a lot of that pressure off. Talking to his hitting coach before the game, Jeff Branson, started talking about his personality and his work ethic and his upbringing, what kind of kid he is, and that just got him excited about the possibility of him sustaining this long term. He feels like he is built for it. He's got the right personality, which is always nice to know from young players. It can be very difficult adjusting it to major league level.
On a hop, nice play by Castro. Throw to first. In time. Polanco thought he was safe, and here comes Clint Hurdle. Well, that ball was crushed. Castro with a terrific play, and Hurdle taking the slow walk out. And it's James Hoy at first who made the call.
First of all, great play here by Castro. This ball was smoked. And we did take his time a little bit. You have to remember your runner made this play closer than it probably should have been.
And Clint Hurdle has challenged it.
And he is safe, I believe. The ball has to hit the back of the glove is the rule. And he is absolutely safe. That foot got across the bag before that ball gets in Rizzo's glove. And Look at this kid run. Look, we talk about those long legs. It looks a little bit awkward, but he probably takes 2 or 3 less steps going to first base than your average major league runner. Another look here. You can see this cleanly on that. Foot on the bag, and for me, that ball is not in the back of the glove yet. Nope, he is safe. I'd be shocked if we don't see this overturned. Replay could end up saving Gregory Polanco from his first offer. A year ago, he would have his first offer in his career, potentially.
The overturned rate on managers' challenges right about 50%, and Clint Hurdle has been a little more successful than that. 55%. But late in the ball game, 7th inning, it's a pretty easy one to make.
It is, and this is where fans get frustrated. This part right here, because you and I have seen, and everyone watching this game has seen, a very clear replay that has shown that he was safe. And I understand you want to get it right and take your time, but once you see that view, that should tell you all you need to know. And this decision should have already been overruled about 25-30 seconds ago. We should be continuing this inning.
And a reminder, the umpires, it's the umpire who made the call, James Hoy, the crew chief, Bob Davidson. They do not make the decision. Now it happens in New York. And our look right there seems to indicate pretty clearly safe. So here we go. And it has been overturned.
And the streak lives for another day.
So that's 11
Polanco
in a row for Polanco.
He has yet to wake up after an 0 for 4 or an 0 for. Hasn't happened yet. That's a big part of being a major leaguer, and how you respond to that. The day's going to come sooner or later, but it's not going to be tomorrow. Jeff Bannister giving the thumbs up. Bench coach for Clint Hurdle. Longtime member of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. He has been around for a couple of regimes. A lot of pressure on those guys up in the clubhouse watching the replays too. You wonder about that process.
Absolutely.
You're not quite sure. What are you saying on the phone? I don't know.
We pretty early had the we thought was a definitive look, as could not see the white of the ball in Rizzo's glove, and Polanco's foot clearly on the bag. Pitch to Harrison, and it is fouled back. He tied the game with a 2-out single in the 5th. Showed you that list earlier. Longest Pirate hitting streaks to start a career. As is normally the case, Roberto Clemente is going to be on any sort of offensive record list. But it's a franchise history that goes back to 1887 in the National League. So it's not like you're setting a new record for an expansion team.
Not the Marlins or the Rockies. You're talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates and some big names. And I know it's early, but gosh, when you hear something like Roberto Clemente in the same sentence and something you've accomplished, what an honor it must be for Gregory Polanco.
Fly ball to right. Ruggiano taking a look back, still going back, and it is gone into the front row as Josh Harrison gets a hold of one to the opposite field. That is a 2-run homer. He's knocked in 3 tonight. Now that ball just kept on carrying. I don't think he wants to come out of the lineup, CJ.
He does not, and he's putting up a great fight. And that's the 4th home run allowed by Justin Grimm, and that leads all of the relievers in the Chicago Cubs bullpen. This ball carry, that is opposite field. We know the ball can fly out of here sometimes, but it really hasn't been carrying anything exceptionally well tonight. Josh Harrison crushed that ball. Like I said earlier, Clint Hurdle loves this guy, and you can see why.
Couple of bounces. Valbuena long throw on the bounce. Nice dig by Rizzo as they get McCutchen. But the last 4 Pirate runs have come with 2 outs, including this 2-run homer by Harrison. It's now 5-2. By Budweiser, designated driver, and enjoy the great times. And by the new Samsung Galaxy S5, the next big thing is here. Baseball under the lights. Baseball night in America on Fox from Chicago. Pirates and Cubs. And the visitors now with their biggest lead of the night, 5-2. Their starting pitcher still working here in the 7th inning. Strike called on Luis Valbuena.
A lot of good things that Vance Worley has done tonight, but just the 1 walk, maybe the most impressive. We talked about it before the game. He just has not been walking guys this year in the big leagues or in AAA.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier what you like to see in relief pitchers. I think what every pitching coach likes to see is guys who are not going to beat themselves by handing out free passes, whether they're a starter or a reliever.
Absolutely, and it keeps the defense sharp. And we heard Jason Hamill talk about it when we had the interview with him back in the 3rd inning, how important that is. Keeping the flow, filling up the strike zone.
Shallow center. Mercer out. It'll be McCutchen. Fox Sports Supports is proud to collaborate with Stand Up to Cancer, groundbreaking initiative created to accelerate innovative cancer research that gets new therapies to patients quickly in order to save lives now. For more information, visit foxsportssupports.com. The last 10 pitches by Worley have been strikes. Make it 11. That's going to be a base hit. And as Junior Lake is on with 1 out, he's 1 for 3. One thing to note as we get late into the ball game and the Cubs trailing, for much of the year they have had an extra bullpen arm So that means one less guy available on the bench as big Jared Hughes gets loose in the Pirates bullpen. And without Emilio Bonifacio, a little tougher for Ricky Renteria. Bonifacio is such a versatile guy defensively. Knocked down by Barma's tag applied. He'll get late. And Barney safe on a fielder's choice.
The ball was hit hard, and a good job by Barnes of keeping it in front of him. Ideally, yes, he would field it cleanly in turn 2.
Hey, Rick Renteria is coming out. And what do we think he's going to ask Bill Welke about?
Buying a little time. By the time he got there, I think he realized already that there was no challenge in play. That's another thing I think fans would like to see go away. We got to figure this out, how we're going to make this happen a little quicker and not just a friendly conversations between managers and umpires strictly to buy time.
Yeah, I think from the dugout it may have looked like Barmes maybe touched or interfered with Lake before he had the ball, but clearly that was not the case. And I think the general rule of thumb that we've seen here in the first couple of months for managers is if you're not quite sure, call a quick timeout, so to speak, by, as you said, walk out there and at least take a look at it. Eli Whiteside out in the deep left center. Off the wall, he just missed a home run. Barney's going to be sent. Here's a relay throw to the plate. And he is safe. Ball got away from Martin. And the right-hitting catcher, Eli Whiteside, just missed a home run. As it is, an RBI double, and it's 5-3.
Eli Whiteside surprising everybody right there. He smoked this ball, and I think he thought he got it based on his reaction at first. Little bat toss, head down, but he never slows down. And there was a little bit of a hesitation here on the cutoff by Mercer. If he turns and throws right away, they probably are going to get Castro, but that slight hesitation cost him right there.
That'd be the end of the night for Worley. Nate Scherholtz announced as the pinch hitter. So all of a sudden the Cubs have a tying run at the plate. Jared Hughes coming in. Martin just couldn't hang on to it. The Cubs are within 2. Vance Worley out of the game, and Barney scoring from first. We don't think he touched the plate the first time through, though.
It's a good hustle all the way. He never slowed down, but he knew. Now you see the safe sign, but he still knew that he didn't touch home when he was smart enough to go back, and it wouldn't have made a difference. Russell Martin was not going to be able to get that ball back in time and apply attack.
Better safe than sorry as a base runner. Here's Nate Scherholtz off the bench against the right-hander Hughes on a first pitch swing and a fly ball to right. And it's Polanco to make the grab. The Cubs settle for one. It's 5-3 Pirates. Baseball's best gather in Minnesota as the captain Derek Jeter takes the field in his last All-Star game ever in what promises to be an emotional and unforgettable night. Special coverage begins at 4:30 on Fox Sports 1, followed by the 2014 All-Star game at 7:30 on Fox. Carlos Villanueva, swing man. He can start, he can relieve, drive the team bus. Can do whatever you ask, he'll do it. Kind of the pitching version of a utility guy.
So Swiss Army knife. Always nice to have those guys. They're very valuable to a manager when they could do those jobs well. And the spot starting and long relieving is one of the most difficult jobs, toughest spot on a staff because of your inconsistent workload. You don't get it consistently, and it's hard to stay sharp when you're in that role.
Martin sends a slicing fly out of play down the right field line. 5-3 Pirates. It's late. We're in the 8th inning. We're trying to set up a rubber match tomorrow. We mentioned Jason Hamill. We talked with Jason earlier. Will start for the Cubs. Brandon Compton for the Pirates, who then head off to Tampa Bay. They've got a long stretch of games here against teams that are currently in last place. As Martin swings and misses, one away. Again, as we mentioned earlier, the Cubs, since May 17th, have the best record in the National League. Weird to see the Rays so far under 500. And they play the Mets and the Diamondbacks. Phillies 5 games under. So if they're going to get back in the race before the All-Star break, they're not even halfway home yet. this might be an opportunity for the Pirates.
Agreed. It's a good opportunity, and you have to take advantage of that, especially when you're behind. Now, they certainly would love to be at full strength, which they're not, which we've talked about with that rotation. But there's an opportunity. Those are 3 very good teams in front of them in this division.
2-0 on Tabata.
We showed those NL West standings as well. We figure probably at least one wild card team coming out of the West, whether it be the Giants or the Dodgers. So that means only one more probably coming out of the NL Central.
(3-0) the count. What is Carlos Villanueva throw? You name the pitch, he probably can throw it at some point. That's a strike on a fastball at 88.
Kind of like you, Darvish, or Trevor Bauer. This guy's not enough fingers on your catcher's hand to call all those pitches that they have.
Cue shot off the end of the bat, and that'll go all the way to Rizzo. He'll step on the base about a foot ahead of Tabata. Major League Baseball, People Magazine, and Target are recognizing teachers in your community. Vote for the teacher who will represent your team at the 2014 All-Star Game, July 15th on Fox. Log on to allstarteachers.com and vote today. So Clint Hurdle pulls the trigger here in the 8th. And with the left-handed batting, Ike Davis for Gabby Sanchez. Hop fly left field. Coghlan will make the grab. Well, 100 years of baseball here in Chicago at Wrigley Field. Babe Ruth with the so-called called shot in the 1932 World Series. By Moto G from Motorola and by Chevrolet, find new roads. Calm and clear since 2-hour rain delay. And the Pirates with a late lead. Ike Davis, after pinch hitting for Gabby Sanchez, will stay in and play first. And as CJ mentioned, it gets a lot tougher for the opponent once you get to this spot. If you trail the Pittsburgh Pirates, left-hander Tony Watson is on, and I probably don't have to twist my partner's arm too much to say that setup guys probably, like Watson, get overlooked too often for an all-star consideration, especially now that the game counts. Home field advantage in the World Series is on the line.
I understand that. I'm okay with it. Yes, I'd love to see relievers get recognition for what they do, especially here in a close game, having to go through the top of the order, 1, 2, 3 for Tony Watson. But I understand why we don't really see very many setup men make the all-star team. It does make sense. There's so many good closers out there, and there's only so much room. But for me, as long as they're getting paid and getting respected in their own clubhouse, that's good enough.
He's setting up for Mark Melanson, who has taken over as the Pirates closer. Has not had a chance since officially being given that honor by his manager. But if this score holds up, pretty decent chance we'll see Melanson. And there's Jason Grilli next to him. In the middle of that trio, Coghlan with a ground ball to first, and Davis will get there in plenty of time.
Depth of bullpen gets so important when you have a situation where Jason Grilli has to come out of the closer role. You can afford to do that because you have a Mark Melanson, as you see him on the right, and Jason Grilli on the left, and because you have a Tony Watson. Think about the Boston Red Sox last year and all that they went through, going through 2 closers. First in Andrew Bailey, then in Joel Hanrahan. They finally get to Koji Uehara, who dominated. Without him and without the depth of that bullpen, they don't win the World Series. And so depth of bullpen becomes very important. If you can find it, it's not easy to find, but if you can acquire multiple guys that you can count on to get late inning outs, very important for contending teams.
Giano looking for his first hit. How many teams at some point in a season make a change? Seems more common than not these days. No Mariano Rivera, no Trevor Hoffman anymore. Those guys were generally automatic throughout their careers, but it's rare now.
And a lot of changes mid-season. The Oakland A's started out with Jim Johnson, a $10 million closer that they acquired. The Baltimore Orioles have changed closers. The Tampa Bay Rays have changed closers. Detroit, a lot has been made of what the struggles Joe Nathan has gone through.
Called strike 3. And Ruggiano not happy one bit. And John Tumpain getting into it. Ricky Renteria protecting his player.
Well, tough ending to a tough night for Ruggiano as we see the setup in. Russell Martin didn't move his glove, and so if he was on the plate, that's a strike. Might have been right on the black. Best view right here. Absolutely, that caught plate, and so a good call. Sometimes it's about the frustration of the night. You know it's a strike, and you know it's a pitch you can't hit. Even more frustrating.
Obviously, 2 big outs to start the inning for Watson, now having to face Rizzo, who is not representing the tying run. And as good as Rizzo has been against lefties this year, this is a really tough matchup for him. And he bunts. And Watson will field and throw him out. Interesting maneuver from the Cubs' #3 hitter. We go to the 9th, 5-3 Pittsburgh. will try to add to their 5-3 lead. Carlos Villanueva, in his second inning of work, went 1-2-3 in the 8th. Mercer a homer, a single, and a double play ball. Rolling outside on a slider. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th for the Cubs, Castro, Valbuena, and Lake due up, and we're going to get Mark Melancon. A little bit more important tonight, if the score remains as it is going to the bottom of the 9th, that Melancon converts. Last thing you want to do if you make a closer change is have that guy struggle in his first outing.
Absolutely, but a lot of confidence for Clint Hurdle, and he told us before the game too, talking about Melancon, he's filled in for Jason Grilli when he's been hurt. He's actually never taken over for Jason Grilli because he has struggled, and so he's wondering a little bit, is that going to be a different mentality for him, knowing right now he is a closer out of need because of his closer struggles, not because his closer is hurt. It'll be a little different for him.
2-2. Jordy Mercer. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Second K for veteran Villanueva.
Good looking slider right here, taking advantage of Mercer's aggressiveness. Call that a strike to ball slider. It's a strike most of the way, finishes out of the zone. Exactly what you want to do ahead in the count.
Now Barmes. Pedro Alvarez on deck in the pitcher's spot. Barmes generally not known for his offense, a terrific defensive middle infielder. He'll let up ball there, 1-1.
It's a nice looking changeup ahead in the count. Take advantage. Most hitters thinking fastball, especially late in the game. Maybe getting a little aggressive. Nice pitch by Villanueva.
That one reaching 90. Pirates leading 5-3 here in the 9th. Home runs from Mercer and Harrison in support of Vance Worley in just his second start as a Pirate. Anthony Rizzo went deep in the 4th for the Cubs. The 3-1 offering. He's hit in the air to right. A lot of fly balls tonight, especially off Pirate bats. And now Alvarez. And as we mentioned earlier, Josh Harrison will probably find a way to stay in the lineup. He's not going to play the outfield much. With Marte, McCutchen, and Polanco out there. Neil Walker soon will be off the DL. And he might start taking some playing time from Alvarez over there at third.
Very possible with Alvarez. We know the batting average is always going to be low. He's going to give you average at best defense at third base. It's the power. That's what he does well. And that power is down a little bit this year, so maybe an opportunity for Harrison, like you said, to take over some of those at-bats.
A lot of errors defensively for Alvarez. Most have been on throws. Pirates feel confident that he can remain at third for the long term, but again, his playing time might be cut here coming up.
Not to beat a dead horse, but Pedro Alvarez gives you another case for the DH in the National League. The Pittsburgh Pirates are a better team with him on their roster, but maybe not playing third base every day.
Got a hitter's count if he gets something he likes. He's going to do that. And he got way under it. And it'll get out of play. 2 balls and a strike. Make it 2-2. We were talking with Garrett Cole off the air before our interview, and we asked him what the Pirates were doing during the rain delay, and he said we were watching some of the College World Series. Vanderbilt, Pedro Alvarez's alma mater. So a lot of interest in that clubhouse. Fly ball the other way. And it's Chris Coghlan to end the inning. Starlin Castro will lead it off against Mark Melancon when we come back. Well, let's go back to the 7th inning. Gregory Polanco, hard hit ground ball to short. Polanco called out at first. The Pirates challenged. It was overturned on video review. And then Josh Harrison to the opposite field with a big 2-run homer. Gave the Pirates at the time a 3-run lead. That 2-run homer, the King play of the day, brought to you by Burger King. Underway here in the bottom of the ninth. And a strike on Starlin Castro from Mark Melancon. And that made history. The first time this season, and then the history of expanded replay and overturned at third out was followed by a home run.
What a difference that makes. The Polanco at bats for me, 2 at bats, his last 2 both with 2 outs, but that one in particular, where he beats out that infield single. It's close. His legs getting the job done. His speed keeps the inning alive. Leads to that Josh Harrison at battle. Gives him that opportunity to hit that home run.
Check swing foul. A lot of cutters. Occasional curveball from Mark Melancon. Found himself a nice home here in the Pirates bullpen. Fourth Pirate to work in this game, and every pitcher coming in with a sub-2 ERA. Two and two. And tonight, CJ, the Pirates have gotten what they're going to need the most if they're going to get back into contention. And that is very good pitching. They got it all of last year and propelled them to a 94-win campaign.
It's certainly going to be interesting to watch what they do with Vance Worley going forward.
Castro lost his helmet on that swing. He was looking for something hard. He got something soft. It was way out in front.
There's one of those 2-strike swings that you and I were talking about, and how the game has changed. And you want your big boy swinging, and he's in the middle of the lineup, but it's a pretty hard swing, and way fooled by this off-speed pitch from Melanson. I like that split change that he throws, and that thing has got a ton of depth to it.
Well, Buena has flied out all 3 times. Well, conventional wisdom says right-handed closer, get as many lefties as you can against him. But that cutter, a lot of people believe, is more difficult for lefties than for righties.
Absolutely. Think about Mariano Rivera, and I always remember hitters coming back to the dugout and talking about that it's so much more difficult for lefties against a right-handed cutter throw, because that ball is coming in on your hands, and you don't have much of a chance to do anything. For a right-handed hitter, you may have a chance of catching that ball off the end of the bat and floating it out to right field, and then of course on a mistake a little bit easier to hit. But that's one of those times. Melanson is one of those guys. Lefty's hitting just 136 against him. Righty's hitting 200. He's got the really good cutter, but also that split change that we saw, or straight split, whatever he calls it. Very tough on left-handed hitters.
Swing and a miss. 2 down.
Well, he makes it look easy, doesn't he?
That's nasty. Falling off the table.
It's almost unfair, that combination. Hard in on the hands with the cutter, and then to come back with that fading away with all that downward movement. Very difficult for lefties.
Lake hit it hard but foul. One strike on Lake. 2 outs, 9th inning. Swing and a miss. Producer of tonight's game is Carol Langley. Our director, John Moore. Associate director, Brian Biederman. Broadcast associate, Ben Toder. Our technical producer, Craig Marlowe. Worley to Hughes to Watson to Melanson, and the 0-2 pitch. Lake went around. Ball gets away from Russell Martin. He will throw to first, and the Pirates have evened up this series. A 5-3 win tonight. Vance Worley gets his first win in his 2nd start as a Pittsburgh Pirate. So the final score from Chicago: the Pirates 5 and the Cubs 3. After the break, Kevin Burkhardt and Frank Thomas are with you. Stay tuned here on Fox.